All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty different, a currency called Pulse. Now, it's built on a really radical idea. What if money was designed to move, not just to be saved up and hoarded? Let's break down how this unique economic philosophy actually works.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the core idea behind the currency itself. Then we'll get into the engine that really makes it run. After that, we'll see how it's all managed, what rules keep it resilient, and finally, the kind of new mindset it really requires. Okay, so let's kick things off with the absolute basics, the most fundamental concept. And really, it all boils down to one simple but powerful question. And this is it. This is the question that's right at the heart of the Pulse currency. It basically flips conventional wisdom on its head, right? It challenges that whole idea that money is just this thing you're supposed to accumulate and store. Instead, it treats money like, well, like a current, something that has to flow to keep the whole system healthy. So what is Pulse? Well, it's specifically engineered to be in constant motion. You got to think of it less like a vault where you store your treasure and more like the actual lifeblood of the Solus economy. I mean, if it stops moving, the whole system just gets sick. Its entire purpose is to make exchange happen and to fund the nation without piling up debt. Okay, but this next part is absolutely crucial. Before any of those unique mechanics we're talking about even kick in, every single citizen gets a built-in safety net. It's a buffer that makes sure the currency's design, its need to flow, never puts anyone in a tough spot financially, whether it's for daily life or some unexpected emergency. All right, now let's get into the real engine of this whole thing, the core mechanism that makes Pulse flow. It's a concept called demurrage, and you can basically think of it as a use it or share it principle for any money you're holding in excess.
So this is super important to understand. Demurrage is not a tax that just vanishes into some bureaucratic black hole, right? It's a totally transparent, automatic transfer. It takes stagnant funds, money just sitting there, and moves it into a shared national account called the common pool. The value isn't destroyed, it's just relocated to a place where it can actually be put to work.
And what's really fascinating is how this whole system is progressive. I mean, just look at the table. The more idle Pulse you're holding above your personal buffer, the faster a percentage of it gets recirculated back into the economy. This creates a really powerful incentive to either spend your excess Pulse, invest it, or just use it in some way, instead of just letting it pile up doing nothing.
And this chart, it shows you the truly democratic nature of this system perfectly. All that money that gets recirculated lands in what's called the common pool, and it's split right down the middle. 50% is directly allocated by the citizens themselves, and the other half is managed by the government for all those essential national services.
So this common pool becomes the engine for a society that is completely debt-free. It's what funds everything. You're talking universal healthcare, education, all the way to really cool, innovative projects that citizens vote on directly, things like community gardens or new public works. It's all funded right here. Okay, so we know how the money moves, but who manages that flow? Let's shift gears and look at the institutions that keep this whole system transparent and running smoothly.
Man, this comparison table really drives home the fundamental difference. The Reserve Bank of Solus, or the RBS, it's not a for-profit bank like we're used to. Think of it more like a public utility for money, just like the waterworks. It exists purely to serve the economy, not to squeeze value out of it through interest. It only issues fee-based loans against real assets, completely ditching the old debt-based model. And this is where every citizen gets to interact directly with the whole system. The Solus app is this real-time, totally transparent window into the entire economy. It's where you can literally see every transaction on the public ledger, and this is the really cool part. It's where you direct your 50% share of those common pool funds to the projects you actually believe in. Now, a system this radically different, well, it needs a new set of rules to go with it. Think of it like a financial constitution, really. Something to protect it and make sure it stays robust, especially when things get rocky. So these laws you see here, they're all designed to work in concert, to get rid of the main things that cause financial instability in the old world. Those crazy debt spirals and speculative asset bubbles. By making interest illegal and banning real estate speculation, the economy stays grounded in actual, real-world production, not a bunch of financial games.
Okay, this flowchart is a perfect example of the system's built-in automatic stabilizers. Think about it. In a traditional economy, when a downturn hits, what happens? Money just freezes up. Everyone hoards. But in Solus, demurrage acts as this amazing counterforce. It
discourages hoarding and automatically shoves that idle money back into circulation through the common pool. It actually increases money velocity right when the economy needs it most. The system basically self-corrects.
All right, for our last section, let's talk about the psychological shift this all requires. Because, living with a concept like demerge means you really have to unlearn some old, ingrained ideas about money.
And this quote, this really gets to the heart of the educational philosophy in Solus. It's all about making the costs and the flows of the entire economic system completely, totally visible.
This comparison here is just fantastic. In the old fiat system, value is always being taken from you, but in hidden ways, right? Income tax gets deducted before you even see your paycheck. Inflation silently chews away at your savings. You don't see it happening. But in Solus, with Pulse, demerge is the complete opposite. You literally watch the pulse leave your account. And yeah, that can feel a bit frustrating at first. But souls are educated to understand that this isn't some hidden tax. It's a visible, it's transparent, and it's a participatory act of circulation. And ultimately, that reframing, that's the key to the entire social contract in Solus. Demerge isn't some penalty for saving. It's your direct, visible contribution to funding everything your community relies on. And the best part, you get a say in where it all goes. And that leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought to chew on. If you change the fundamental rules of money, if you shift it from encouraging hoarding to encouraging circulation, do you actually change how people interact with each other? With society as a whole? It's a pretty powerful question to think about.